If you wish to donate, please go to nevadaveteransmemorial.org. And that's all for this installment of Spotlight on Sparks. We appreciate you watching. As for me, this is the final program that I'll be hosting. It's been a privilege and an honor serving the citizens of Sparks, and I appreciate you tuning in. From all of us at the City of Sparks, thank you.
Even if no one in your home smokes, secondhand smoke can be closer than you think. Secondhand smoke from a neighbor's apartment can enter your home through air vents, through light fixtures, and even through cracks in the walls and the floors. Secondhand smoke is toxic, especially to children. Protect your family.
Are you studying tonight? We can meet up and study together.
Just text me after.
Okay. No!
There is no text, tweet, or call that's worth a life.
One pedestrian death is one too many.
Look up.
And look out for each other.
Call to the order of the Sparks City Council meeting of May the 22nd with a roll call, please.
Chair Martini, absent. Council members Abbott. Here. Lawson. Here. Smith.
Here.
Bybee. Here. Deere.
Here.
City Attorney Adams.
Here.
City Manager Driscoll.
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Okay, if you all rise for our invocation speaker, it's Pastor Pete Bosler, who went off a cliff the other day, and Crosswinds Assembly of God Church. Thanks, Pete.
Let's pray. Lord, this is unprecedented growth. You already know that in our city. And many great things are on the horizon. So I pray that, first of all, our city council would have a great holistic mindset as they make plans that will set the city in pace for many, many years to come. Would be called the safest city in Nevada. Thank you for our fire department and all the great work that they do and their protection and keeping our streets cleaned up and taken care of. And Lord, I thank you that you never forget us and that your wisdom is the most important. So We pray for that now, and we're grateful for this wonderful day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. If you remain standing, please. We're going to do the pledge in 1 second. I just want to make an announcement. On May 22nd, 1995, Officer Larry Johnson was killed in the line of duty. That was 22 years ago today. So a moment of silence, please, if you would. Okay, thank you. Now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Dylan, one of the Boy Scouts, would you lead us in a pledge, please? Come on up. There we go. Nice and loud, Dylan.
So please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
Good job. Okay, I'll open it up to public comment. I do have one card. Anybody in the audience that wishes to speak, if you haven't filled out a card and you want to speak, I'll come on down and fill out a card afterwards. First up is Anonymous. Come on down. Welcome. And you have 3 minutes.
Is this on?
Yes.
I am, you've had 2 weeks to read the evidence doctrine that the district judges have published and presented to the Nevada Supreme Court. You've obviously not responded to that. Therefore, we believe that you agree with it. And I've already spoken at 2 council meetings regarding the reprehensible comments made in the doctrine. The document that is before you right now will be given to Teresa Gardner, the clerk, and it is a doctrine that was presented. It's actually meeting minutes and a doctrine about destroying child abuse evidence, and that the justice courts are destroying child abuse evidence every 2 years, which is illegal. They cannot do that. And Heidi Shaw, the Sparks City employee, is destroying child abuse evidence also every 2 years. She has no written authority to do that. And that is why our children are proceeding with lawsuits against you individually. It is important that Mr. Adams explain to you what individually means. You're not being sued officially as council members because the Supreme Court has already ruled that you're bankrolling the courts to destroy child abuse evidence. And so the children are suing you individually because you're not doing anything about bankrolling the Heidi Shaw and Judges Abernathy and Spoo. This document is dated June 3rd, 2010, and the reason that we're bringing it to your attention is that it, and I don't have a timer in front of me, is because the, and I guess it can't be, the time can't be put up. The reason that we are bringing this to your attention is because this meeting occurred, thank you, I appreciate that. This meeting occurred 1 week after the evidence doctrine was written by the district judges. And again, we families who have abused children have to go before the district judges when the abuse occurred by a father and the wife's abuse, the abuse to the wife occurred by the husband. Once we start investigating, and we've had the last 2 weeks to investigate, and we've received on public record that police officers are responding to domestic violence calls and not arresting the suspect because it requires their guns being confiscated, and that's under the VAWA Act. And we have on public record that police officers will not confiscate guns upon arrest. They will upon conviction. But for the state of Nevada to receive funds under the VAWA Act, they have to confiscate guns upon arrest, not upon conviction. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we bring it back to the council. Approval of the agenda. Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to ask the council move consent items 8.4 and 8.5 into general business. While they're appropriately agendized, I believe that a short presentation on each of these would benefit the council, and particularly 8.5 has budgetary consequences that you'll need to approve your budget before you would approve a program. So if we could move 8.4 and 8.5 into general business after 9.2, I would appreciate it.
And we have one more, 10.1.
Yes, and sir, as agendized, you will be asked to hear 10.1 as a public hearing before you hear 9.1 as they're both budget related. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Pro Tem.
Any questions? Looking for a motion? Mr. Abbott? Looking for a second? Anybody? Second. Mr. Dare. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Or I'm sorry. I'm used to another meeting. Please vote. I'm trying to vote here. There we go. Passes unanimously. Okay, we'll move on. Number 6.1. This is a long one. So consideration and possible approval of the minutes of the Sparks City Council special concurrent meeting with the Reno City Council, Washoe County Board of Commissioners, Washoe County School Board of Trustees, and the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority Board of Directors on May 1st, 2017, and the regular Sparks City Council meeting of May 8th, 2017. Mr. Lawson.
Move to approve.
Okay, Ms. Bybee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Okay, number 7, announcements, presentations, recognition items, and items of special interest. 7.1, proclamation for the Emergency Medical Services Week. Chief, you going to come down? And Mr. Dare will read that proclamation. Welcome.
Shall I read first? This proclamation, and I'll read from the beginning, says, whereas emergency medical service are a vital component of the regional healthcare system and the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality, innovative emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of men and women in both the public and private sectors, from emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency dispatchers, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, volunteers, and others throughout our healthcare system who work together to ensure those in need receive the highest level of emergency care. And whereas RAMSA, CareFlight, Reno Fire Department, Sparks Fire Department, and Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District's commitment to patient care throughout Northern Nevada has been an integral factor in our community's safety, security, and success. And whereas the success of the employees and staff of RAMSA, CareFlight, Reno Fire Department, Sparks Fire Department, and Truckee Meadows Fire Department District are indicative of the dedication to the many communities served. Now, therefore, I, Gino R. Martini, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim May 21st through 27th, 2017 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Smith, council members, and Manager Driscoll. For the record, Chris Maples, Sparks Fire Chief. I just want to thank you for the proclamation and also introduce Kevin Romero, who's the operations chief for RAMSA. You know, we, in the Truckee Meadows, we run this two-tiered EMS system. typically the fire departments will be the first tier of response, and REMSA, as the transporting agency, is the second tier. But regardless of which agency we work for, our goal is the same, and that's to provide the highest level of pre-hospital care that we can. And I believe we do a pretty darn good job of that. So thank you again for the proclamation. Kevin, if you'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you, Chief, council members. I can only echo what the chief had to say. We kind of came with a contingent today. It's the 1 week, during the year that we can actually acknowledge the people that work on the streets. Friday, we have an award ceremony at our place, and I think you all are invited to that, and we'd love to see you and share some great stories throughout the year, and really appreciate the recognition, so thank you.
Thank you. Chris is going to present the proclamation.
I'd like to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to tell you, I had the honor of working with our chief and with our paramedics, going down and seeing things, being on the health board, and I got to just tell you, I am well impressed. We are in good hands, and it's actually fascinating to see what goes in to do all the things I just read. So you guys, hats off to you, and awesome job. Thank you.
Have them come up and get a picture. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Okay, 7.2 is a proclamation for Public Works Week. That's Ron Corman and Mr. Martini. Come on down. Welcome. Okay, whereas the City of Sparks Community Services Department is an integral part of the community and has been providing public works to the benefit of the community and residents for many years. And whereas the American Public Works Association endorses National Public Works Week to energize and educate the public on the key role public works plays in the efficient planning, building, managing, and maintenance of the public infrastructure and public projects in our community. And whereas the support and understanding of an informed community is vital to the efficient operation of the public works programs such as water, wastewater, stormwater, and reclaimed water management, streets and roadways, public buildings and grounds, parks, and other vital community services. And whereas a community's health, safety, well-being, and quality of life greatly depends on public works programs and services. And whereas the dedicated and skilled personnel who plan, design, build, manage, operate, and maintain the infrastructure are an integral part of the foundation upon which the county's and the nation's prosperity and stability are built. And now, therefore, Gino R. Martini, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim May 21st through the 27th, 2017 as National Public Works Week, and calls upon all citizens to recognize the significant contributions which public works professionals make every day by always being there and always ready to provide for our health, safety, and comfort and quality of life. Thank you. Mr. Corman, did you want to say a few words, and then we'll do the presentation?
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, for the record, Ron Corman, Public Works Manager. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the supervisors from the Public Works Division. First, I have Mark Anderson over here. Mark Anderson is the Assistant Public Works Manager as well as the Supervisor for the Traffic Signals and Facilities Department. Back here, I've got Dano Seaton. Dano is a supervisor over the Drains Department and the Traffic Paint and Signs Department. I have Dennis White in the crowd. Dennis is one of our parks maintenance supervisors and mostly deals with Golden Eagle and the ball fields and things like that. I've got Casey Bond. He's one of the supervisors for the Parks Maintenance Division. I've got Jason Knobloch. Jason is the new supervisor for our sewer maintenance crew and the effluent maintenance. Larry Colstrup is here. Larry is the supervisor for streets maintenance. And Terry Shackelford is here, and Terry is our Fleet Services Supervisor. Thanks, guys. Not to be forgotten, also, I'd like to recognize the rest of the folks that I'm privileged to work with, and we've got a whole bunch of them here in the group as our Public Works staff.
Would you stand up for a minute so we can give you a hand, please?
I just want to thank you for taking the time to recognize the Public Works staff this week. This group of people come to work every day to provide a very important part of public safety that tends to be ignored. They maintain the infrastructure that helps make Sparks the city of choice. These are also the people that come in at odd hours, work 18-hour shifts during a flood, stand by ready for 2 months in a row when we didn't quite know what our weather was going to bring us with crazy weather, manning sandbag stations. Or these are the guys that come in the early hours of the morning while everybody else is nice and warm and asleep in their bed to make sure that the roads are as safe as possible for our citizens. Thank you again for your recognition.
John.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
I had
members
trouble
of the
saying your
council.
name, and it's my name.
That's all right. And Mr. Driscoll, I want to thank the council. I asked Ron to get as much of the crew in. You see a lot of the City Hall Public Works folks, your city engineer, John Erickson, Amber Sosa. These are the folks that are doing the grind every day. They are out there keeping us safe. They're keeping our infrastructure up and running, and I wanted them recognized today, so thank you very much.
Thank you, John. You know, and for me, especially during snow events or the, you know, unfortunately, we're getting good at this flood protection because we do it so often, but this group of people, they come in, they change their shifts to work for the city and for the citizens out there. And, you know, you don't see that in other organizations. So I'm very proud of everything they do, all of you. So thank you. Go ahead.
I would just like to thank all of you for all you guys that are on the ground doing like the tough work. And I'm the one who keeps sending messages when I get all my complaints on weeds. So we're probably getting ready to get into a big weed season right now. And I find that residents really, they're proud of their city and they really want it to look good. And you guys help us, you know, by getting out there and trying to keep up with the weeds, which this year is going to be even tougher than it was before. And then our streets to be safe when we're driving out there to the flooding this year was, and I thought a lot, you know, as I'm watching the aerial views that Donald was filming, going over the flood in our industrial area and around in our community, realizing that you guys were all out there doing all the work to keep us operational and to keep the city safe. And just want to let you know how much I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
We have a guest photographer today, Kendall.
You gonna get all these guys up here with you?
We can actually get them all up there. Okay, why don't you all come down and let's get them up there behind you.
Behind us. Do you want us to move the seats back? Everybody.
Come on in. It's scarier looking this way, I'm telling you.
Can't be that bad.
Come on in. Come on in. Thanks for all your things. Keep coming. Get everybody. Several engineered correctly, guys?
We hope so, right?
Why would Terry be right in front?
He doesn't want, no one's
Don't suppose that. He's got a shot of the sliders.
I thought it was a shirt. More the happier.
Are they staying in it or no?
He's in.
Somewhere, guys.
Yeah.
Do you want us in it or no?
I'm like squeezed. Can you do it now? This was a whole chambers.
Thank you very much. You know, now that they're gone, we can actually talk about them. Sparks is very proud of the staff that works for us here in all departments, and they step up the plate and they take care of the city better than anywhere I've seen. So we're very proud of them. Thank you. Okay, presentation from the Life Change Center. Come on down and introduce yourselves, please. I've met you.
It's good to see you again. I'm John Firestone, and this is Travis Doon. We're from the Life Change Center. I'm the executive director, and he's the director of finance. And I'm going to need some help trying to get this thing to come up. It just went away.
Okay, she'll put it on. You want to start from the beginning?
How do I do that? I'm very good with technology, by the way.
I can tell. I say the same thing.
Once again, we're from the Life Change Center, and what I'd like to do is just a little presentation today. But I won't take this upon myself. I don't think I've done a good enough job letting the community know who we are. That's one of our goals today. We're also going to talk a little bit about some of the programs that we're developing. This is all recent, and not for the right reasons, to be honest with you. So the Life Change Center is a nonprofit organization. We've been here since 1998 in Sparks. We've always been located in the same area, on the same street. Generally, we're off of Sullivan Lane over the past almost nearly 20 years. We treat people that have addictions to opioids, and opioids are things, if you don't know, it's the full class of drugs and medications like heroin on one end, and then things that are used for pain medications, like, I don't know, hydrocodone is one of them that comes to mind, but pills that are used for the treatment of pain. This has gotten greatly out of control. I shouldn't say currently, for some time we've had an epidemic of drug use in this area. The last few years, the data has been rather haunting. There's been about 33, nearly 34,000 deaths a year associated to opioid overdose in America. These are not worldwide statistics. It's not North America statistics. This is American statistics. And it gets even a little bit more haunting when you think about how that looks in a smaller portion. And I've got that posted. Oh, I don't have it posted. I have it posted right here. See, good with technology. It's kind of haunting when you think about it. An American dies of an opioid overdose every 15 minutes. So you can kind of consider how long this meeting will last today and do the math. And this isn't just during a work day. This is 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And this is actually the good version. It was worse 2 years ago. It's actually getting better, and this is where we're at today. The problem's a bit more than we can handle. I can say that when I mention that we're growing for the wrong reasons, this is what I speak about. People often ask us, hey, how's it going? How's business? And how do you answer that question? The only reason we're growing is because the need is so high. And this is a really traumatic addiction. This isn't, not to minimize any other addiction, but this takes lives. And it's become very prominent among young people. So let's see if I can figure this out. Got it. Thank you. So if you haven't heard of the Life Change Center, that's not a surprise. We're an interesting organization. We're one of the types of organizations that you don't really know who we are until you need to know who we are.
Thank you again for having us here. My name is Travis Doon, Director of Finance. Last year, 1,236 patients found out who the Life Change Center was. Over 1,000 people in our community went to us for help. As you can see, over 26,000 counseling visits were given to those patients. Just in a little 4,000 square foot clinic that we have off of Audie Boulevard over on Sullivan. You guys are probably familiar with the area. Over 2,000 group counseling visits. We like to bring the patients together. We feel like it provides better outcomes for the patients when they're able to relate to other people going through the same trouble. Over 213,000 medication visits. We offer methadone. That's our primary medication that we offer to our patients, which helps with their disease, and 589 assessments. You could see at the bottom the $21 million number. That is the amount of money that we saved to the community. If you take into consideration the ER visits, the first responders, the police department, the incarceration, we've done this study for the last 4 years, and every year we've saved the community $21 million by helping these 1,200 people. Unfortunately, it is an epidemic and it's growing, and our 4,000 square foot clinic isn't enough. We have another location in Carson City, and we're looking at expanding our Sparks location to a 24,000 square foot facility. If John wants to go ahead. We have some artist renderings of a building located on Sullivan. That 2-story building will incorporate an extra 20,000 square feet of office space, and our goal and our dream is that we have a wraparound service, comprehensive services, and John could explain a little bit more what that means exactly.
Actually, I'm going to cover a bit of ground too, if you don't mind me doing this dance through the slides here. The middle graph is an important graph. One of the things that I just take a lot of pride in the people, we have 36 staff members, by the way, at the Life Change Center. Most of those are counselors, like substance abuse counselors, therapists, licensed clinical social workers, psychologists. These folks do a great job. What that graph in the middle shows is that we've had up to as high as 74% success rates with our patients within the first 60 days. I can let you know if you're curious, if that seems high, that's incredibly high, and we're very proud of that. Over the last 3 years, we've managed just below 70%, but we've seen increases lately. We have over the last, for 2017, it's been a remarkable improvement. So people are actually able to meet their goals, and we're very proud of that. This is an artist rendering, and we have a set of these. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get an animated view put together in a timely fashion of our 4,000 square foot building. 300 patients a day get medicated there. About 70 patients a day get counseling visits there, and this thing's got a mind of its own. And this is what it'll look like in 2018. Currently, it looks very similar, just a little different in its colors. The expansion that Travis was talking about, the 20,000 square feet, is already housing what we call wraparound services. And the best way to visualize this, for me to explain it, I should say, is that drug use is only a small portion of the problems that people face when they have a long addiction pattern. What we offer is called wraparound services. So imagine that, like the classic picture, like in a motivational picture of the iceberg, where you just have the tip. The drug use actually is just the tip of that iceberg. The larger part are things like family problems, employment problems. There's a lot of deferred health care, a lot of deferred dental health care. There's problems with specific diseases like hepatitis C. There's mental illness, sometimes accounting for the addiction, or sometimes the result of the addiction. There's problems not only with the person that has the addiction, but also their family. What we've been able to do, what we're already doing, I'll break it down into 2 parts, is the first thing that we're doing is we're working with family services and employment services in this building. We're already there, it's just not as pretty as it looks right now. This will start in 2018, the development of this portion, okay? What we're doing is working with the families in 2 ways. We have a parenting program, and then we're helping the children. What we want to do is break this, I guess what you call a generational cycle of addiction. So nobody's really funding it. We have to do it on our own. We're a nonprofit. We don't have a high margin, but we invest everything we can back into this particular cause. We're quite proud of it. We would love to say in 5 years from now, after we've done the data, that we've made a difference in this area. I've seen far too often where a patient's child, once just a child in a clinic in tow, becomes a patient. That is a haunting thing. The other thing that we're going to offer, certainly, healthcare services. These healthcare services are for, I won't call them diseases, but problems that are associated with long-term exposure to opioids. Whether that by addiction, by pain management, or by treatment, there are side effects, and we're treating those symptoms. These are symptoms that deal with hormonal production, bone density, muscle density, sleep problems, and of course that variety of symptoms that go around with hepatitis C. This is what we'll be doing starting in 2018. I don't know how long it'll take us to get this building that we have currently, which is a lot more plain Jane than what this artist rendering is, to look like that, but we would imagine within the first 12 months that this building will be complete. The reason that we're here today talking to you, once again, is just to let you guys know who we are. I don't think I've done a good enough job of making that happen. The other thing is we want to encourage your support. I don't know how that would look, but one thing would be great, and I'd totally invite you down to the Life Change Center. Please give us a call, and we'll give you a much more in-depth overview of what we're doing. I also want to make available Travis and myself if you have any questions. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Questions, Mr. Dare?
I actually have a comment for you. Just 2 weeks ago, I was on a phone call
Where they were talking about nationwide, the problem with opioids. And there's some really large grant stuff. I don't know if you're on that particular thing, but I'd like to come down and I'd like to see more. So I'd like to give you a card to make sure that we have that conversation. And obviously the needs are huge. And the hard part about it, if people don't realize what opioids, this is not illegal drugs. These are people, there are legal portions to it, but a lot of people are getting these because they go through some form of operation or some form of something, and then the addiction grabs them. And so thank you for coming in, but I'm very interested in having that conversation. Thank you.
Ms. Bybee.
So my big question, I guess, would be, do you have a capital campaign, grants, funding, fundraisers? How are you going to raise money to build, obviously, a much-needed expansion?
We're looking at foundation grants for the completion of this project. We're relatively new to the grant process. It's kind of funny being a nonprofit. A lot of times we're so busy in just keeping the patients safe and ourselves sane during that process. Not always successful, I might add, with the sane part. But that we haven't really broadened our scope until the needs started to get so big. We did open a clinic in Carson City. We're opening another one in Reno, if that gives you any idea of the magnitude of the problem that we have in northern Nevada. This is not a problem that's happening in inner cities. This is definitely a big problem right here in our community. So we're just starting. We've got some great people on board, hopefully, to help us get there, and I appreciate any insights that you guys may have to grant opportunities that we should be aware of. Anything that's local to, we would love to have.
Do you have a website that people, since we're Facebook Live now, we have a bigger audience than before, and maybe if people are interested in contacting you, how would they do that?
So our webpage is not on here. I apologize, but that's www.tlccreno.org. Once again, T as in Tom, LCCreno.org.
Any other questions? How do people get referred to your program?
Historically, there's been sort of a word-of-mouth referral. Patients will show up. And it's an interesting moment, if I could take another minute. I have people come into the clinic, and I'll meet with them often. I'm a therapist also, and I'll sometimes do the assessment. And they'll have been out in the parking lot for a month, 2 months sometimes, afraid to come in, afraid to make that first step. And when they finally do, it's good. It's just scary to walk into this building through this door where you don't know anybody. But to answer your question, it's almost all word of mouth. We've done a lot of advertising in the past, and that was really just more about public relations work than it was actually reaching the people we need to reach. The other is that we're starting a little bit more aggressively working with pain management doctors to ensure that they have at least the knowledge of how to get their patients, once it becomes a problem for them to manage, to our clinic.
Okay. You mentioned 74% success rate. Yes, I mean, that's really amazing. How do you know? How long after they leave your program?
That's a great question. So I have to clarify then that's while people are in treatment. When people leave treatment, I don't have as good of access to them. Generally speaking, you see two types of people after you leave. One is a person that's so enamored with their life and they come back and they brag about it. Well, that's skewed data. The other are the folks that perhaps had a problem and they're coming back into treatment. So we only get those bookends. But while people are in treatment, we drug test them weekly up front, and then that goes down. Depending on how long a person stays in there, the need becomes less. It costs money to do the drug test, so we just make less drug tests if it goes well. Anywhere from, the only reason I say 60 days is because we do 30-day analyses.
So is the website the only way they can contact you? Do you have a phone number they can use?
Our phone number, absolutely, 775-355-7734, and that'll get you access to anybody and everybody you need, including Travis, myself, in the administrative services area, our Carson City Clinic, or the one at Sparks.
Well, thank you for the work you do. Obviously, if they ask you how business is,
I know. It's a
how do you
tough
answer
question.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Business is good, but that's bad. So thank you for your presentation today. Appreciate it, and best of luck. Maybe you get some people responding today. Okay, 7.4, presentation, RTC's pedestrian safety. Welcome, Lee. Welcome, Michael. Light is on, it's off. So when the light's off, it's on.
Thank you for that. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council of Sparks, my name is Lee Gibson, RTC Washoe County. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about what we think is an incredibly important subject, and an incredibly important subject, especially in light of the Commission's action last Thursday to adopt the 2040 Regional Transportation Plan. What we want to cover today are our initiatives in pedestrian safety. There you go. And take a close look at that photograph. You'll see that investment in pedestrian safety comes right here close to home in Sparks. That's the Pyramid-McCarran intersection, and you can see literally jumping up out at you the sidewalk improvements that have been included in that project. In our planning initiative, I'm going to cover three areas. One is, I'm going to cover two areas, and Michael actually will cover a third. My two areas will include planning and infrastructure, with a quick overview of our planning principles, how our planning process works to deliver pedestrian safety, as well as then cover some of our major projects that we have going on right now. Safety guides and really governs everything we do at RTC. It guides our planning, it guides our engineering design, it guides the projects we select, and it guides the messaging and awareness campaigns that we undertake to inform and educate the public about the importance of being safe when using all modes of transportation. But most importantly, because a lot of times we think we're safe when we're walking, paying attention as a pedestrian and making sure that we are aware of the environment that we are walking in. This year, or this time around in the RTP, we've continued four programmatic areas. We have budgeted $1 million a year each to ADA accessibility improvements, ped and bike facilities, traffic signals, and pavement preservation. Let me talk about the first three, and I'm going to come back to pavement preservation. So in each of our projects, if you go out, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Fourth Prater project, which is a $58 million project, that doesn't necessarily fall into these categories, but that is a pedestrian safety project. So our initiatives, our investments, our designs, and what we're developing in partnership with you and your staff really focuses at all times of doing the types of safety initiatives we need to do in all classes of projects. So I want to make that very clear. Pavement preservation is particularly important for us. When we're out doing a slurry seal, or we're out doing a corrective maintenance initiative, we will often, not out of the set aside for ADA accessibility improvements, but within that budget, come around and fix a lot of the sidewalks and ramps and intersections so that those safety improvements get delivered to the public. So this has been a very successful initiative for us over the last several years. Can you go to the next slide? I think that's during the period we have data for, which is 13 to 15, we were able to do 43.5 miles of bike lanes, almost 19 miles of sidewalk, and 318 ADA compliant curb ramps. So that's in addition to all the other projects we did. So, and here's a list of some of the projects. I try to be generous. I noticed it was 2012 to 2017. I'm going to be generous with time and call that 4.5 years, since we're only halfway through 17. So, and you'll see many of those projects our signature projects right here in Sparks, we're very proud of. So in terms of our major corridor improvement projects underway right now, all of us, I'm sure in this room, have driven 4th Street and Prater Way, and all of us know now that that is under construction. A $58 million project, again, reconstructing the street, reconstructing the sidewalks. Those ADA compliant sidewalks are going to come with the undergrounding of the utilities. So undergrounding of the utilities, just for a footnote, is an extremely complicated process, and any of you who'd like to have an hour-long conversation with me, like the Mayor Pro Tem has, I'll be happy to go through that, because there's a lot of just issues with right-of-way and easements and negotiation and discussions with property owners that we go through to get to that benefit of having those utilities placed underground. We're also working in Reno on the Virginia Street project. Again, similar scope of design and activity as 4th Prater, where we're going to reconstruct the Midtown sidewalks, improve sidewalks and crosswalks up near UNR, and also extend the rapid line up to UNR. We'll remind everyone, this is kind of the master plan here, is to sort of create a half a T maybe. You can come up Virginia Street, you can come to the 4th Street station, and then you could travel over to Sparks, or as we've seen in a lot of our travel patterns, residents of Sparks will be coming down 4th Prater Way on the new Route 11 and be able to transfer to either UNR or TMCC and go to workforce training. So that's been one of the major advantages actually of these two projects, and we've been recognized for planning excellence by the United States Department of Transportation for really trying to integrate those two ideas. Next slide. Safe Routes to School. This is a partnership we have with the Washoe County School District that we fund. This supports education and awareness, helps with school zone operational improvements, and we sponsor special events and equipment. You can see just from the photograph how well attended and how kind of fun and exciting those projects are. Again, with the education and awareness piece, it's important that we begin, I'll use the word inculcating into children especially, the idea of being safe on their bicycle, being safe as pedestrians. What we see with millennials, I'm sure, is something we're going to see with the folks in those photographs. As time goes on, they're going to look for options other than the automobile, perhaps, or perhaps they'll be using an autonomous vehicle to get to where they're going. They'll still have to navigate streets and have to be cognitive of what type of environment they're operating in. So this is a great program, and it's one we are especially proud of and enjoy and are proud of the partnership with the Washoe County School District. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael and let him walk you through some of the other education and awareness initiatives we have.
Thank you, Lee. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, Michael Moreno, Public Affairs Manager for the RTC. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about what we are doing in the area of pedestrian safety right here in the Truckee Meadows. We have a very robust education and awareness program, and I distributed some bike lights to you. And we've been distributing these throughout the community, trying to increase awareness of pedestrian safety at night, and that they're more aware of their surroundings when they are out walking, and hopefully they are changing their behavior. We also have the RTC Smart Trips program, encouraging folks to try alternative modes of transportation such as carpooling, vanpooling, bicycling, walking, and we have a very strong program with the Smart Trips program. Our van pool program has been very successful with over 100 van pools that we've been able to implement this year. I also distributed the 2017-2018 bike map for you. That's a publication that the RTC produces, and we're really excited to have a bike map which also not only shows bike routes throughout the Truckee Meadows, but also provides some safety information as well. We're always trying to create some innovative ways to get the community more informed, more aware of pedestrian safety. So we have information available through our website. We have our public affairs program on Colo 8 TV, The Road Ahead. We do TV ads and billboards, a very strong social media and video program as well. So any way that we can perhaps engage the public to learn more, be more aware, we will try new things. And as Lee mentioned, we do a number of different community events, such as the Safe Routes to School program. When there are programs throughout the community, safety fairs, health fairs, family health festivals, we try to be there at all of those so that we can provide this information to the public and they know where to get it. Which brings me to the latest innovative pedestrian safety campaign. Coming this summer, we will be installing these decals at various crosswalks throughout the Reno, Sparks, Washoe County area. These messages are very eye-catching. We have alligators, we have a high-rise, and we have a shark. We want people, before they cross, they're going to see these messages because these decals are about 5 by 5 feet wide. And they're very cool, they're eye-catching, and we're really excited to be able to partner with Zero Fatalities and the Office of Traffic Safety to bring these decals to our community at no cost to the RTC or to the local jurisdictions. So it's a great program, and that's a sample of what the decal is going to feel like. So it's very sturdy. This program was implemented in Las Vegas last March, and it's been very successful, and it's an award-winning campaign created by Penna Powers, who is on retainer with Zero Fatalities and DOT to do their pedestrian safety campaign. The messaging on here talks about jaywalking. That's a really big issue in southern Nevada. Although we do have jaywalking issues here, we have a lot of fatalities that have occurred at crosswalk intersections. So the message is going to be tweaked somewhat, so we'll have a combination of jaywalking and crosswalk intersection messaging at these crosswalks. We have a number of different locations throughout Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County, and UNR. These locations were provided to us by Public Works staff from each of the jurisdictions. The ones that you see on here are the ones that were identified by your team, as well as the team City of Reno. We're going to have about 40 decals in total that will be installed next month, and hopefully they will last a long time, depending on what our weather is, because they don't have snow in southern Nevada, but we do up here. But at the minimum, they should be durable for about 6 months. These are the other locations provided by the Washoe County School District, which includes some locations in Sparks and Reno, and then University of Nevada, Reno, which was provided by their law enforcement team. So, with that, we'll answer any questions that you may have.
Questions from the council? I have a couple just comments. So the decals are actually on the crosswalk, they're on the ground, because my question would be, how are you going to get them to look up from the phone to see a decal?
Well, you know, Mr. Smith, Mayor Smith, I don't know what to call you.
Call me Ron, that's what you usually call me.
They're
There's
big.
other names. Call me anything you want, I answer anything.
I usually bring along a sample of what the decal is going to look like, and it's huge. They're not going to miss it. So, and we anticipate doing a media campaign once they are installed as well, so that there's great awareness throughout the community about the campaign.
And I know this is public safety, but I want you to hit just a little bit on the free ride that you do all the time for New Year's Eve, St. Patrick's Day, and all the other ones. And plus, just touch on the RTC in a move to be transparent, which we did several years ago. They did 151 outreach meetings to the community last year. That's 3 a week, minimum. And that's
Average.
people after hours, and they go out and do these, most of them are after hours. So go ahead, Mike.
Thank you for bringing up the free Safe Ride transit program that we have. A number of times of year, we provide free transit on all RTC transit services to the community. Most high profile of those events are the New Year's Eve free Safe Ride and the St. Patrick's Day Safe Ride. We have a free ride day coming up on June 15th. That's Dump the Pump Day. And it's an opportunity for people to ride transit, to try transit. Perhaps they have never tried it before. And so, in fact, for St. Patrick's Day this year, we had a record-breaking ridership, which we were really excited about. I wasn't sure if we were going to even meet the ridership that we had last year, but we had about 12,000 rides on transit. So we're really excited to be able to share that program with the community. We have community sponsors that help us provide that service, and it's a great way for folks to be safe, try transit, and to get a ride to where they need to go, whether it's if they're going to go out and celebrate a certain holiday or if they're going to work during that holiday as well. So,
Just for the record, we carry 25,000 people a day on St. Patrick's Day. We carried an additional 12,000 for 37,000 total. So it's a big, big, big success for us.
And I do believe you offered some bus service during their flooding in the last 2 months. So, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Mayor Smith, if I could just add one more thing. We're currently recruiting members for our RTC advisory committees. We had the Citizen Multimodal Advisory Committee openings right now. If anyone is interested, please go to our website to apply, and we are accepting applications until this Friday at 5 p.m. We also have a seat on the Regional Road Impact Fee Advisory Committee, and those applications are being accepted until June 23rd, Friday, 5 p.m.
Thank you for the presentation. Good job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for my light.
Moving on, we'll go to 7.5, Reno Tahoe Airport Authority and the landing benefit for our region. And we're going to get Bill up here with her, or Sean, or anybody. Come on, Bill.
Our two board members.
That's right. These are our two board members representing Sparks. And Bill is on his last month. For your
I am.
term. He's been on the board 8 years.
8 years.
Yep. Done a great job for
Very
us.
good 8 years, by the way. Working with this lady is kind of a good thing for a lot of people. Thank you.
And, Bill's got his claim to fame. He was in charge of the air races on 9/11 when they canceled everything. So that's you have to live with that now. Thank you. Marilee.
I'm Marilee Mora, the CEO of the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority, and Mayor Pro Tem Smith and council members and Manager Driscoll. Thank you very much for having us today. On an annual basis, we just like to come here and really much, thank you for your support. First of all, with appointing great trustees for the airport board, and we are saying goodbye next month to certainly Mr. Eck, who has served us for about eight years, but a great welcome to Sean Carey, who is very familiar with you. He's already gotten very engaged with the airport authority. So I start with this slide really talking about our board governance, and you have two appointees of the 9-member board. And, this is a great form of governance for us, really having the local representation with Sparks and certainly Reno, Washoe County, and an appointee from the RSCVA. I'm not sure how I get this advanced here. Oh, okay. Oh, great. Thank you very much. So again, we own and operate 2 airports, not only Reno Tahoe International Airport, but certainly Reno Stead Airport. And we have 8 passenger airlines serving Reno, 3 cargo airlines, 24/7 operation. And again, thank you for your appointees to the board. We're financially self-sufficient. I think a lot of people think that we use local tax dollars. We do not use local tax dollars. And the thing that we're proud of is that 65% of our operating revenues are generated by non-airline sources, meaning when users help pay for the operation of the airport, when you park at the airport, when you buy food or retail, that all goes into certainly helping the operation of the airport. And our goal really is to keep our rates and charges low for the airlines. That's how we attract new airline service. So that higher number that we get of non-airline revenues really helps us keep in the business of air service development. So we continuously strive for increasing that non-airline revenue. And again, you know, we're really much a city like you are. We have our own fire and police and have all the different functions, human resources, accounting, all the types of things that you really are in the business of as well. We had an economic impact study done in 2010 by UNR's College of Business. We're going to be updating that study our next fiscal year, but that's $2 billion per year for Washoe County. So every time a 737 comes into our community, and the 737 is the aircraft that Southwest Airlines uses in our across the board, that's $100,000 per landing. I think a lot of people don't think about the airport being an economic engine, but there are 2,500 jobs at Reno Tahoe International. Our own workforce is about 250, but 2,500 people are employed at the airport. It was very wise of our board back in 2013 to adopt a strategic plan. We had never had a strategic plan before, so we have a 5-year strategic plan, and there were 5 really priorities for us. And the staff, while the board adopted these priorities, the staff really adopted an implementation plan right away to really get in and get this work done. Increasing air service, the board never said this is a numerical order, but I can tell you that increasing air service, maintaining what we have and growing air service has really been the top strategic priority for the airport. And I think general aviation operations, having good general aviation operations and services at both of our airports has been very, very important, because I think it's people were really very much aware that there was a time and place that we were very much at war with our private pilots, and we've done a tremendous amount to repair that relationship and work very hard to have a good general aviation environment at Reno Tahoe International. Cargo development, I'm going to show you some numbers in just a bit to say cargo, because of what's happening in Sparks and Reno, our cargo is really reflecting the growth and the diversification of the community. And when we talk about economic development, we really talk about economic development and use of our land and getting revenue for the use of our land, so that, again, we have non-airline sources to produce revenue, so we keep those rates and charges for the airlines low. And at the end of the day, we want a positive environment for our customers. And many of you may be aware that on Thursday night we experienced an incident between 2 customers, and we were quite frankly devastated by that experience, because it probably has had more than 1 million views of a video that was at our airport, because we worked very hard to have a positive environment. And so that was very, very distressing to have a video that's viewed that much about Reno Tahoe International. The last 22 months, we've had 14 new flights and brought in 2 new airlines. So just about 2 years ago, we're just right at the anniversary of JetBlue coming in with service to JFK. We worked on that for 15 years, so we're just absolutely delighted to have JetBlue. Almost a year ago, JetBlue added service, a second flight to Long Beach, and that flight has done extremely well since day one. So again, what we've seen is new airline of JetBlue. We also brought in almost 2.5 years ago Volaris, providing service now 3 times a week to Guadalajara, and seasonal service certainly on Atlanta, on Delta. That was something that our community very much is interested in. But we've seen a reinvestment of Southwest Airlines, who had pulled a number of routes from our market, about 6 of them a number of years ago, and they're now putting flights back in. Back into Oakland a year ago, 3 flights a day, into San Jose. So it's great to see Southwest, again, our largest airline in terms of the number of passengers, reinvesting back into our community. So our goal really at this point, having brought this volume of new service into the community, is filling those seats. And one of my points today is just, help us communicate about these new flights so we're able to keep those seats filled. So again, this is our route map, and we filled a lot in, I would say, in Southern California, and also really the San Francisco Bay Area, bringing the Oakland flights, so that those were some pockets that we really definitely wanted to see some additional service. And again, having the New York service was a great addition to our portfolio. In 2016, we served 3.65 million passengers, and that was an increase of 6.4%. But as you can see from this graph, we're just getting back. we're rebuilding because we lost a third of our passengers. So these numbers are great, but again, we're regaining momentum that we lost during the recession. A record-setting year in 2016, certainly on the cargo side, we were up 13% when compared to 2015, and that was the best year recorded in the history of Reno Tahoe International for air cargo lift. And again, this is the positive work that's going on within our community in terms of the growth of warehousing, e-commerce, and distribution facilities. All of that is bringing more cargo, certainly to Reno Tahoe International. Some of the things that we're doing because of the growth in the community, and certainly the EDON's EPIC study that showed over 50,000 new jobs in our community over a 5-year period, is it was time for us to do a master plan. Our master plan was 20 years old. So we have a 16-month master planning process, and we're about a third the way through that. A big part of that is really the community outreach that we're doing. But this is really going to be a funding roadmap and a roadmap for us to really address all the growth in our community going forward. Another thing that we found out that we really needed to do is that while we thought we were communicating about all these 14 new flights, some focus group research that we did, we found out that people were not aware of our new airlines and were not aware of our new service. So we're out educating the community about the flights, and what we're doing is a weekly campaign that features a giveaway to a new destination every week with two flights to that destination, along with certainly a hotel stay. So far, we've had 30,000 entries. So it's been, I tell you, when you've got something free, people step up and sign up, and it's been a great program. But really, at the end of the day, what it's about is communicating our new flights to our community. Another thing that we found is really popular is people want a deal when they're flying. So we are distributing a weekly airfare sale update that we send out by email. We share that throughout the community, and this has been very, very popular. I always will take signups for this because it really, I think it prompts that impromptu travel. If maybe somebody's thinking about visiting a friend or relative, when they see that they can get a deal, they're more apt to do it. The other thing that we're out doing is doing Air Service 101 sessions within the community. We've had more than 500 people from businesses, ski, gaming, and hotel partners involved in these sessions. Important part, I said, one of our strategic priorities is having a good relationship and really optimizing general aviation. And we like to talk about the presence of Atlantic Aviation on the east side of the field. They are the largest fixed-based operator, this company is, in the U.S., and they've made a $15 million investment at Reno Tahoe International. So they've got a great facility, really mirrors kind of the outdoor emphasis that we have in our community, and they have at the end of the day, they have an 85% occupancy in their hangar, which is something really, really great. Dassault Aviation Services, Dassault is part of the Falcon Jet family, and they have a service facility at Reno Tahoe International for Falcon Jets, and this is their western facility. We're looking forward to them growing their location at Reno in the future. Our jewel really is our 5,000-acre Reno-Stead Airport. In 2013, we opened a terminal building there. We still call it new because many people may remember that we had a Quonset hut there as our terminal for so many years. We have instrument landing system there. There's been a $22 million investment in our runway rehabilitation out there. So a great deal of investment in the facility. One of the things that happened back in 2013 is Reno-Stead, the state of Nevada was named as one of the 6 test sites for unmanned aerial systems testing, and Reno-Stead Airport was one of the test sites within the state of Nevada. So actually this week, back in October, NASA did unmanned aircraft system testing, and this is for the getting the traffic management data and roadmap for integrating the drones with manned aircraft. They're actually doing that testing at Stead, and they're doing that testing last week and this week. And on Thursday, they will have a news conference, NASA will, to talk about what has been accomplished at Reno-Stead Airport. You know, we talk about testing at Reno-Stead, and it's great to have the testing, but our really role here is to bring these companies to our region, that they test at Reno Stead Airport, and they decide that this is a great place to do business, and they locate their companies here in our area. So that's really one of the goals that we have from really the Airport Authority side. We've been very fortunate to have a seat at the table. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, stood up not quite a year ago, a 35-member drone advisory committee, and I have one of the 2 airport seats on that table, and it really has to do, and Dean Schultz is on the subcommittee. Dean is our Chief Operating Officer. So I think the work that is happening in the state of Nevada, and specifically at Reno Stead Airport, is certainly being recognized nationally in terms of us being able to have a voice in the development of this great new industry. We have a master development agreement with Dermody Properties for 1,700 acres at Stead. That was something that was approved by the board back in December, so that's very exciting. We're certainly hoping to have aviation as an anchor tenant, aviation-related company. I want to remind you of who you've got as appointees, because it's not only board appointees, but you have 3 people on our Airport Noise Advisory Panel, and then we have a master plan working group, and Jim Rundle is on that. So we're really thankful to have involvement of your residents and your staff, and really the workings, the hard workings, and some of the detailed working of the airport. We're out talking about some new concession opportunities at the airport. On June 15th, we're having a local workshop to let local vendors know about 3,500 square feet of space that we're going to open up at the airport for either retail or food and beverage. And we're really aiming this to having kind of local companies come into the airport. So we will have a whole public process for that. But I think the first thing is really we're being proactive about letting our local community know that this opportunity is available. We are looking at a hotel development. We'll be announcing soon a hotel development next to the Hyatt Place Hotel on kind of our entry plaza there. And in the future, there would be office and probably a restaurant to go along with that. So that's exciting new things really at our front door. Coming soon, too, is what there is called in the airport industry a common use business lounge. And the area that we currently have an art gallery with windows to the field, we will be converting that space over the next 6 months to a common use lounge. This is where it will probably feature, be a partner that if you have a platinum American Express card, you'll be able to probably get in there free, but there's also a day rate, and we look to have partnerships with local companies, ski resorts, just a lot of partnerships to have this lounge available, which is kind of a new amenity with airports post-security. So that's kind of another exciting thing. Rideshare, I think a lot of people ask questions, what's happening with Uber and Lyft? We've had Uber and Lyft serving the airport for about a year and a half now, and that accounts for 52% of all of our customer transport. And what we're seeing is there's certainly growth with Uber and Lyft, but probably not as much a decrease in taxi use as some other venues. So I think what we're really seeing is a new market of people that are using transportation network companies to get to the airport. We always are focused on customer service, and I just have here a kind of a list of some of the recognition that we've had for customer service. But Honor Flight is something very special we do, and Charlene Bybee, Councilwoman Bybee, has been there for so many flights, and actually I think our last flight, she took her father on the flight and actually went back with the group to Washington, D.C., so we feel really honored to welcome these veterans back to the airport. You can sign up for pre-check at the airport. Over 40% of our customers do use TSA pre-check. I think that keeps our complaints down. And one of the things we try to do is put a little levity, put a little pleasure back into flying, and we have a Kindness Takes Flight team that is out doing random acts of kindness, and so we're really, really proud of doing that. And we have 25 Pause for Passengers therapy dog program, and Councilwoman Bybee's father also participates as one of our dog teams out there, really trying to make a cheerful travel experience for customers. So with that, again, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for your support of the airport, and thank you for our great trustees on our board.
Charlene.
We're being 40 years in the aviation industry. I could not comment on just what and I've commuted from here to the Bay Area, now to Los Angeles, for most of my flying career. So in 40 years as a flight attendant, going through airports all over the world, I've always Reno is just such a nice airport, and obviously it's a smaller airport, so it's much more manageable. I just came through O'Hare this morning, and the size, but really the quality of everything, and I've seen through the years how much it's improved, everything from the shops to security, the new security, and I wanted to say your security is probably one of the best in the world. And after 9/11, you know, when 2 of my airplanes with American went down, I didn't see at some other airports. You were seeing security that just didn't make you as comfortable as you'd like to be. And the thing I like about Reno is that they're thorough, they're really friendly. So the customer service at TSA, because flying is really, it's become in all these years I've watched, it's really sometimes painful. I mean, it really is. Just the stress to get through, you know, to get to the airport, to get on, security can be a pretty stressful environment, especially when people don't fly a lot. And I think what you have done, the environment that you've created with TSA, with the dogs, with the kindness, people, with just your staff, really makes it much more enjoyable. And hopefully people, too, who come to Reno who haven't been here can really experience that, and it's part of a welcoming and a farewell, you know, when they come in and out, and always looking forward to more flights coming in and out, especially as a commuter. You know, I appreciate that. But thank you all for the work that you do, and for Bill and our representation, and Adam for all those years, and welcome, Sean. I think you'd be a great addition, but thank you for all the work you do. You guys are awesome.
Councilwoman Bybee, thank you very much for your comments.
Any other questions or comments? I have one. You showed the air service destinations, the new ones you've added. Now, when I go to take a flight, I go Southwest, and then if they don't have a flight I don't know what to do. Is that on your website? All of the destinations that you're, because I don't think of JetBlue. I don't think of any of those other ones.
If you go to our website, we have a tool on our website. It's up in the corner, you say searchable flights.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Innovata, and you can search flights to Reno Tahoe International or from Reno Tahoe International. Yes, and so it gives you all the combinations, whether there's a nonstop, a one-stop, all airlines. So thank you for the question, because
I'm kind of dumb when it comes to that kind of stuff.
no, you're, and the beauty of that is a lot of times when you go to a booking engine like an Expedia and some of these other flights, other booking engines, they don't have Southwest Airlines on those booking engines. So if you go to our website and look for the searchable flight tool, you will get everything that serves Reno.
Thank you for that. Listen, thanks for the presentation today. Bill, I want to thank you for your 8 years of service. And I've known you for a long time. We got in trouble together a few times. So, you know, thank you.
Yes, we have.
Thank you very much, Bill. Okay, 7.6, presentation update on Community Assistance Center operations. Who's doing that?
Mr. Michelle's not here.
Okay, so we'll just move on to the next item. Move on to consent items. Now we're going to move 8.4 and 8.5 into general business. Anybody want to pull another item or looking for a motion? Mr. Lawson.
I'll move to approve 8.1, 2, 3, and 6, and move 8, 4, and 5 into general business.
8.4 and 5.
8.4 and 5.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Dare.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, or let's vote. God, that kills me every time. Passes, all in favor, push the button. Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, we'll move on to, what did we just do?
Excuse me.
Okay, we'll move on to 10.1, Mr. Cronk. And this is the public hearing as required by NRS 354.596 to allow public comment on the tentative budget of the city of Sparks for the fiscal year 2017-2018.
Good afternoon. This is just a reminder, this is in compliance with state law that we need to hold a public hearing on the tentative budget. We need to do that within the last 2 weeks of May. So here we are today. We wanted to do this obviously before the final budget was approved, but we are going to bring the final budget to you right after this public hearing on the tentative budget. That's all I have.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion. Just a public hearing? Okay. This is a public hearing. I'll open it up. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council. And are we going to move on now to 9.1?
Yes.
9.1.
Getting whiplash here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, it's an odd requirement about holding that public hearing on the tentative budget, and especially doing it so late, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the next agenda item is actually one of the, represents one of the my two favorite days of the year, when I get to present the final budget to you, and then the second one is when I get to present the CAFR to you after the audit. So it's just a representation of a lot of hard work that's being done, and with your blessing, we will move forward with it. So before you is the actual state document. We've already met in a council workshop. We met and presented the city manager's budget recommendations on the 24th. Oh, please. No. So,
Okay, Mr. Cronk, go ahead.
yeah, so we had met on the 24th to present the city manager's budget recommendations and received your input and approval to move forward on that. So what's before you today is the actual state document. It's not nearly as reader-friendly. That's why we create that city manager's budget document as really a user-friendly resource tool for you. But this is the actual state document that we're going to be presenting to the state upon your approval. The only differences, there's only two significant differences. We always catch minor rounding issues and whatnot when we're preparing the document, but there are only two significant differences from what we presented on the 24th, and it was certainly things that we had talked about. We just have to make sure that people understand that it's different from the tentative budget. The first one being $150,000 that was added to the room tax, the Victorian Square room tax capital projects fund for public art in Victorian Square. This was actually something that we had talked about early in the process, early in this fiscal year. We had just neglected to put it on the tentative budget. So we just want to make sure everybody understands that that's what's different between the tentative budget and the final. The second one is, as we had talked about for the funding of the Golden Eagle Regional Park turf replacement plan, was to move part of the franchise fee around, so we provide funding for that, and the council's specific direction was to only do that for one fiscal year. So we had to make that change in the capital improvement plan. So what you had approved before had shown that for a 5-year period. We changed that so it only reflects the 1 year only. So those were the only two significant changes. And with that, I'm prepared to take any questions, or if Manager Driscoll has any comments. But that's all I had for you.
Comments? Ms. Bybee?
Jeff, on the, for the electric and gas franchise fee shift for the 1 year, I'm a little, can you clarify on the 2% going to the general fund, 2 to Parks and Rec, and 1 to the road fund? So it's not split evenly between the road fund and the, why is it shifted into the general fund and not directly into the Parks and Rec? Can you clarify that for me?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So maybe just the background of that, there's a 5% fee that's charged on that, and it was split between the general fund and the Parks and Rec fund and the road fund. The idea to provide funding source for the Golden Eagle Regional Park was to move one of those percentage points, okay, from the road fund to the Parks and Rec fund, and that's what we did. The Parks and Rec project fund, I'm sorry, and so that's what's reflected.
So the 2% would have been to the road fund, and we shifted that 1% back
Correct. So
to the Parks and Rec for Golden Eagle for the turf.
So as it stands right now, upon your approval, is going to be 1% remaining in the road fund, 2% in the Parks and Rec project fund,
For the one-year period right
and
now.
for the 1 year only.
Councilwoman Bobby, we will be bringing you an ordinance change to do exactly what you asked for in our last budget session. And so this is just moving the money to what you authorized. We will bring back for your official approval the policy to do this under your current ordinance, and it'll all be spelled out very specifically as to what you said on the record, and we'll comply with that for the 1 year.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Looking for a motion. Mr. Lawson.
Move to adopt the final budget for the city of Spark for fiscal year 2017-18 as presented.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. There we go. Passes unanimously with those present.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Jeff.
much.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 9.2, consideration and possible action on a tentative map request for 448 townhome lots on a site approximately 165.5 acres. Welcome, Karen.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Temp and Council. I'm Karen Melby. I'm Development Service Manager. Before you today is a request for a tentative map by Apache Homes, Fort Apache Homes for 448 townhomes located in the Miramonte Plan Development. Can I have please? Before you, on this map, you can see outlined in cyan is the property. This is the Miramonte Plan Development. This would be Los Altos coming up here, just to give you reference. The Miramonte Plan Development Handbook was recorded in the year 2005. The area for this site has been designated multifamily or townhomes and has been that way in the original handbook. The Miramonte Townhome Subdivision site is part of a mature plan development, and the site is undeveloped and is within the city limits, with the assumption that it would be developed as some type of multifamily housing. The subject area has been included in the built-out calculations for city utilities and services since the approval of the handbook in 2005. This subject site in here in cyan, outlined in cyan, is approximately 165.5 acres in total. The applicant intends to develop approximately 35 acres, or about 21% of the site, for the townhome subdivision. The remainder, which is about 79%, will remain as undisturbed open space. This is the proposed tentative map. Does not show you the roads connecting to Belmont. Briefly, I wanted to give you what a tentative map is. A tentative map is the initial review and approval of a development for the development of a subdivision. A tentative map is in preparation of the division of land and shows the preliminary design of approximately the lot layouts, which you can see here. In this project, the lot layouts are actually just the building envelopes for the townhomes. It includes the layout of the streets, grading, and utility locations. The developer requests approval of the conceptual plan before expending the time and money for the final design of the subdivision, where the final lot layout, the final street design, final grading, utilities are designed. The final map must comply with the tentative map conditions of approval along with the state requirements, and also must dedicate water rights to serve the homeowners. The site will require substantial grading to access this property and develop it. The construction details of the grading are not included with the tentative map, but will be a requirement of the final map. That's condition 6 on this, in the list of conditions. The access roads that are proposed will need to cross a sizable ravine that runs along this side of the property. Might be better to show you on here. You can see there's some ravines coming through here, so they have to access off here coming into this property. Crossing the ravine, as the applicant proposes, will require the construction of 2 earthen fill dams, one for the primary access and one for a secondary or emergency access. Due to the heights of these earthen fills, which is projected to be up to 50 feet. They will be considered dams and must be reviewed and approved by the state engineer. Condition number 7 is the box culverts will likely be maintained by the city, but the final design and maintenance will be determined as part of the final map. There are no other existing similar dam structures within the city of Sparks. Staff, and also with the support of Planning Commission, can make the tentative map findings and provides the following summation of our findings, T1 through T12. The project supports goals and policies of the comprehensive plan by promoting compact development, which is consistent with goal MG9. It will incorporate sidewalks, which is consistent with policy C4, provides another housing type, which will be a lower than median house price in the region, which is C8, policy H2. The availability of city services at acceptable levels is policy CF1. Cannot be certain until additional infrastructure analysis is done with the final map. In fulfillment of policy EV10, a fiscal impact analysis was submitted for this project. The fiscal impact analysis indicates that the proposed development will be fiscally positive for the city over a 20-year period. The assertion made in the fiscal impact analysis is that the development's future residents will produce a large increase in the consolidated tax, or known as the C-tax, revenues to the city. The analysis assumes that nearly all the development's future residents will move there from outside of Washoe County, or that of Washoe County homes that they vacate will be backfilled by people from outside the county. However, staff has reservations regarding the fiscal analysis and specifically the C-tax assumptions. While policy EV10 potentially cannot be made, it is staff's conclusion that the project fulfills policies H2, goals MG9, policy C4, and policy CF1. With the final map, CF1 would be analyzed and made sure that it's significant, benefiting the city. Notably, the fiscal analysis indicated that the base price of these units would be about $270,000. This is below the Reno-Sparks regional median home price of $319,000. This is per the Reno-Sparks Association of Realtors, a March 2017 market report. The addition of the below median price homes is an argument in favor of this development. Thus, while EV10 may not be fulfilled, it is staff's conclusion that the project fulfills policies H2, goals MG9, and policy C4, and that the overall project advances the city's comprehensive plan goals and policies. The application was distributed to the reviewing agencies, and the letters were attached to your staff report. These address findings T3 through T9. Addressing finding T6, a traffic analysis was performed as part of this tentative map application. The traffic analysis estimated that the townhome project will generate 2,371 average daily trips, with a peak PM of 206 trips. The analysis has been reviewed by the city staff and also the Regional Transportation Commission. The applicants propose improvements to address the increased traffic, which will lengthen the left turn storage at the corner of Los Altos Parkway and Vista Boulevard to 400 feet. The details of how this additional storage will be constructed and accomplished will be required as part of the final map submittal. City staff and the Regional Transportation Commission agree with this proposal. In addition, city staff and RTC require that any improvements are necessary to maintain the policy level of service level of D at Belmar Drive and Los Altos Parkway to be submitted with the final map. Fire service will be provided by the City of Sparks Fire Department from Station 4. The site may not comply with the City of Sparks Fire Department 6-minute response time standard. Additional analysis will have to be provided with the final map. If that analysis determines that the site is not within the 6-minute response time, additional mitigation measures will be required to be submitted and reviewed by the fire chief with the final map. Utilities, access roads, soil conditions, slopes, drainages, final landscaping, amenities, and architecture will be addressed and approved with the final map in compliance with these findings. Staff recommends approval, and Planning Commission supports that with 15 conditions. I'm available for questions.
Comments? Karen, I have a couple. You mentioned findings T1 through T9, but you have on the motion for T12. Were there 12 findings or 9 findings?
There are 12. Let's see. The findings 11 refers to the facility services. 11 is addressing specific things like landscaping, architecture, amenities, and then 12 is the public noticing.
Normally, when it's outside the 6-minute mark, it usually requires sprinklers, I think.
That's one of the options of a mitigation, yes.
Are there any questions or comments? This is my ward. Go ahead, Ms. Bivey.
So Karen, on the, there's 15 conditions of approval. Those are all things that the developer would need to. I'm thinking of the cost of lengthening the turn lane to the ravine, to all of that in the conditions has to be, the cost is carried by the developer, correct?
Yes, those would all be part, yes, and the plans would have to come in with the final map.
Okay, and the 15 conditions would have to be met.
Yes, the intent of the tentative map conditions are conditions that we want to see or situations that we want mitigated with the final map plans.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion. This is my ward. I move to approve the tentative map for the Miramonte Townhomes associated with PCN 17-0011, adopting findings T1 through T12, and the facts supporting these findings is set forth in the staff report and subject to the conditions of approval 1 through 15 as listed in the staff report. Mr. Lawson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Thanks, Karen. Okay, we're going to move on to 8.4, which is consideration and possible approval to apply for National Endowment for the Arts Our Town Grant Program. Francine, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. For the record, I'm Francine Burge, Special Events Supervisor, and I'm here with Sarah Toney, who is Executive Director Interim of the Notables, and she is also the Chair of our Arts and Culture Advisory Committee. And we are here to ask for permission to leverage the $150,000 that has been allocated for public art by the Sparks Tourism and Vitalization Committee to apply for this grant for an NEA Our Town grant, which is a 50-50 grant. Some of the reasons why this is excellent timing is the NEA has not funded a project in Sparks since 1999. The timing is also perfect because they are looking for projects that are under construction but not complete, which is kind of where we are right now. And also leverage for this funding will also give us more opportunities with other regional and local foundations. And Our Town grants are also high profile when it comes to the arts community. Some of the other ones that they have funded, it's a fairly new program, but some of the other ones that they have funded that are arts district related are Dubuque, Iowa, Arts in the District, El Paso, Texas, Downtown Pathways, Ajo, Arizona with their master plan, and Detroit, Michigan with the Sugar Hill Arts District. Those are some that you might want to look up. They're kind of exciting to look at. So with that, I will open it up for questions.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Lawson.
Oh, I seconded your last motion.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
I just want to compliment the staff on, we're always asking them to try to find other people's money to do certain things. And there hasn't been a lot of opportunity recently. And Parks and Rec has done a really good job of local foundation money as well as others. We currently have an application in process that's fairly large for the Johnson Center. And I think this is one where we've got some money that's, while it's been approved to be spent, it's not ready to be spent yet because there's a lot still left to do. And this is a marvelous way to potentially double that money in a time frame that is on par with what we were already planning on doing. So I compliment staff and the Arts Commission for having the courage to bring this forward, and I'm hoping that you'll support their efforts.
Good stuff, thank you. Ms. Bybee.
I would just like to thank you for pursuing, just like kind of echo what Steve just said. Excited for the Arts and Culture Commission, especially for Victorian Square, and looking at how we can, and becoming part of Art Town more extensively this summer is exciting to me, but the opportunity to double, the little bit of seed money that we're starting with, I think can make like an incredible difference and engage the community and bring the arts to Sparks in a bigger way. So I'm excited to see what you do. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments? Looking for a motion?
I think the chair is going to make this motion.
Me?
No. Of our,
Ms. Bybee.
Okay, I'd be glad to. I'd be glad to. I move to approve applying for funds through the National Endowment for the Arts, Our Town Grant Program.
Mr. Abbott. I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
5. Mr. Corman, consideration of possible approval of memorandum of understanding AC 5370 between the Washoe County Sheriff's Office and the City of Sparks to provide full-time inmate labor to augment public works maintenance program.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. Ron Corman, your Public Works Manager. This afternoon, I'm before you to ask permission to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. This agreement provides inmate work crews to the city year-round in exchange for the sum of $62,855.52. This amount covers the costs incurred by the Sheriff's Office to provide this service. The inmate work crew represents 1 supervisor and 4 to 6 inmate workers 5 days a week, year-round, with some exceptions, notably inclement weather or holidays, those kinds of things. A conservative estimate is that we will have their service 200 days per year, with an average of 6 workers, 5.5 hours a day. This comes to 6,600 labor hours per year at approximately $9.52 per hour. 6,600 hours of labor with full-time employees would cost an average of $286,704. So gives you a comparison of what we're getting for a dollar. This work plan for this crew consists of 4 goals. The primary goal is maintenance and the cleaning, including weed removal along the roadways and medians. The second goal would be general cleanup and weed removal around city buildings. Third goal would be general cleanup and weed removal in park areas. The fourth goal is general cleaning and weed removal in the city's open ditch system. The city will be providing a contract laborer and a garbage truck to work with the inmate crew. The city will also provide traffic control where required for the safety of that crew. The work program does not utilize any violent offenders and will be constantly supervised by a full-time staff member from the Sheriff's Office. Due to the locations that the work crew may be assigned, it can be assumed that they will be in proximity to citizens as well as to some school locations. With that, I am available to answer any questions.
I think this is a wonderful program. Glad that we pursued this. And if there are no comments, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, make a motion.
All right, I move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washoe County Sheriff's Office and the City of Sparks to provide full-time inmate labor to augment public works and maintenance.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. I think you can't beat what they did last year. They did a great job. They did. Fantastic. We got started late, so I'm glad we're getting started early this year. So, okay, any further discussion? Being none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
If I'm right, I think we're moving to 10.2.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thornley. Second reading, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on bill number 2715, amending the Sparks Municipal Code Title V Business Licenses. I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead,
Good
sir.
afternoon, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, Doug Thornley with the City Attorney's Office. We've discussed this item at length in a series of meetings leading up to today. But as a refresher, Mayor Martini requested that certain operational requirements as they relate to restricted gaming locations in the city of Sparks be examined by staff, and that an ordinance be brought forward that largely mirrors what Clark County and the city of Reno have done in terms of requiring bars and bar restaurants to have a functional bar, a 40-inch bar, and that the slot machines contained inside the premises be restricted to inside that bar. And so what we've done is produce a draft regulation, a draft ordinance. We went through the business impact statement process that you all accepted at the last meeting. And so what I'd like to do is just run you through what the proposed ordinance does, and then leave you with, I guess, the opportunity to wrestle with the policy question as to whether or not you think it's necessary. Restricted gaming is 15 or fewer slot machines. This ordinance would only apply to locations that have 7 or more. So we're dealing with 7 to 15 slot machines. 8 to 15 slot machines. What it does is it defines bar and bar restaurant for the purposes of the gaming portion of our Title V, which is where we license gaming establishments. Like I said before, it requires a bar top that's 40 inches from the ground, and in a location that has more than 12 machines, 12 of the 13, 14, or 15 machines must be contained inside that bar. If there are fewer than 12, all except for one must be inside the bar. The reason for that is that potentially disabled patrons might be looking to use machines, and that allows the facility to accommodate that request. The ordinance does provide for a true grandfathering clause, provided that if the location is already operating with bar top machines, it must stay that way. So if you are operating without the bar top machines today, and you are duly licensed by both the state and the city, you can continue on in terms of your operation in that fashion. And the manner in which the ordinance proposes to police that continued operation is that when the license is reviewed and renewed on an annual basis, a diagram, a floor plan, if you will, of the facility will be produced. It's essentially the same floor plan that's given to the Gaming Control Board under Reg 4. And the operator of the facility will be required to submit an annual report that essentially attests to compliance with the new requirement. I misspoke the last time I was in front of you. Councilman Lawson asked me if there was any definition of bar or restaurant in the code. I emphatically said that there was not, and that was not accurate. So in Title 20, we define bar, lounge, and restaurant. Title 20 is our zoning code. It's where we set out locational criteria. This would, of course, be restricted to only restricted gaming operations, and so it's in Title 5 because you wouldn't necessarily need to include it in the locational criteria for bars or restaurants because not every bar and not every restaurant includes a gaming component. We also have a different definition of restaurant in Title 5, and that is related to sidewalk cafes and the special permits that go along with that process. And so none of the existing definitions speak directly to gaming. None of them necessarily set out criteria by which you might adjudicate whether or not a restricted gaming use is incidental to the primary purpose of the business, and that's what this code amendment seeks to accomplish. I'd be happy to answer any questions now or later if the council
Questions or comments? Ms. Bybee?
Yes, I've got a statement to read before any decision is made today. I will be abstaining from this item because my husband works for a non-restricted gaming licensee that is a member of the Nevada Resort Association. I'm unsure whether this specifically rises to the level of a disqualifying conflict under the ethics and government law, but I believe it's prudent to be cautious with respect to this type of issue. Therefore, as required by state law, I will not vote or advocate for or against passage of this measure. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll open it up to the public. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Come on down, Seb. Welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith, members of the City Council, Sev Carlson with Kempfer Kroll on behalf of Nevada Restaurant Services, Inc. You probably know Nevada Restaurant Services more commonly as Dottie's. Dottie's maintains its Northern Nevada headquarters here in Sparks and employs a few hundred people here in Northern Nevada, including a number here in Sparks. We operate a non-restricted operation in Victorian Square. We also have a number of restricted locations within your city limits. As you know, it's been our position that this proposed ordinance is unnecessary. It solely targets the Dottie's business model, and it shuts down innovation as well as businesses catering to those who suffer from a disability. The ordinance only requires minimum compliance with the ADA. If a business wants to offer more than 3 machines for ADA customers, this ordinance prohibits that. We'll stand by our letter that we sent with respect to the business impact statement. I see that's part of your agenda package today. You know where we're at. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Seb. Mr. Esquaga, come on down. Welcome, Stephen. Light off.
Am I there?
Off is on and
Okay.
on is off.
All right. It's been a little time. I'm a little rusty here, but for the record, though, and members of the council, thank you for having me. My name is Stephen Esquaga with Peppermill Casinos. We have 2 properties in the area, as you're aware of, Peppermill Casino in Reno, Western Village and Sparks, with a total of just about 3,000 employees in the area. I'm going to be very brief with my comments, but we do appreciate you taking this matter before you. Really, the 2 points I want to make are one of clarification. I've heard from a number of friends that this is basically a Station Casinos versus Dottie's matter that has evolved from Las Vegas up to Northern Nevada. And I just want to clarify that this is an issue that really our whole industry up north has been monitoring and watching. This is not a Dottie's issue or a Dottie's Station Casino, and in fact, it's not even just a Dottie's issue. It's good policy. The moves and the recommendations from staff were very supportive of an intent of a restricted license to go in as an operation with gaming being ancillary, keeps under that restricted notice, and as a non-restricted licensee, we're very appreciative that you're going to take that matter seriously. This is not about trying to put out the small operator. In fact, I think this really strengthens the smaller operators. When you look at the Flowing Tides or the Bullies of the world, they are complying with the law and the intent. So again, from Peppermill Casinos, we're very much in support of the direction you're moving and appreciate your time on this matter that's really evolved over the years. Thank you.
Alonzo, come on down. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem, and members of the council. I'm Michael Alonso here on behalf of the Nevada Resort Association. And just to address a couple of things that came up by Mr. Carlson, the idea that we're solely targeting Dottie's is not accurate. There are others, whether you call them copies or knockoffs, but we know of at least 2 in Sparks that are under the name Grampy's, and one that we believe is called Bob and Laura's, same model. We're just trying to make sure that everybody in this area is following the law and the law is easy to enforce. And I just wanted to also comment on the issue on the ADA, and specifically in your ordinance, your draft ordinance, and the definition of a bar top. It makes it very clear that there's an exception for that portion which is mandated to be a different height in order to comply with the ADA or other applicable law. And so whatever it takes to comply with that, that's what they're going to have to do. So it's not a minimal compliance, it's whatever you need to do to comply with the ADA. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anybody else in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council.
$10 fine.
Yeah, we wish everybody to turn off their phones. Yeah,
An
it's up.
alarm. I've got an
Sure.
alarm for some reason.
This is when you wake up during this time of the day.
When you wake
I'm
up.
awake. I'm awake.
The meeting's almost over.
I know, you missed the whole thing. Mr. Thornley, any closing
Mayor Pro
thoughts?
Tem. No, I think that this is a policy question that the council needs to wrestle with. Whether or not on your site visits, to the extent you went on them, notice that there may be some trouble determining whether or not the gaming operation is incidental to the primary business. I do think that this is a tool that can be used by staff to, I suppose, police the incidental nature of restricted gaming here in Sparks.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Attorney?
Adams.
Mr. Adams, I know your name.
Just to touch on this ADA issue, Mr. Thornley, what's the deal with that?
Well,
Primacy clause is probably going to trump anything that we put in on a local ordinance relating to the ADA.
Well, I think it may well be a matter of perspective. So what the requirement says is that if you have fewer than 12 machines, one of those machines is not subject to the 40-inch height limit. If you have more than 12 machines, 12 of them must be in the 40-inch bar. Now, what the definition of bar top does is it does provide for an exception to that rule to the extent it is necessary to comply with the ADA. And so I think it may well just be a matter of perspective from compliance with the ADA as a, I suppose an end game versus whether or not that is minimal compliance. So.
Leave it up to essentially a federal agency or a state agency to make determinations as to whether or not a particular establishment would
Comply with the ADA.
I don't know that it leaves it up to a separate agency to make a determination. I think what it does is it prescribes a standard, and to the extent the ADA requires something that is not that standard, the ADA would control.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, looking for a motion. Now, just to be correct, we have to have a 3-0 vote on this, Chet?
That's correct.
Okay. Looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott?
I move to approve and adopt bill number 2715.
Okay, do we have a second? I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? All in,
Real quick.
okay.
I've struggled with this, and I'm still struggling with it, but I'm going to vote today. It is what it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Abbott, do you have another comment, or is that just, that's from the?
I struggled with it too.
Struggle for all of us, I believe.
Yeah, definitely looked into it.
Okay, seeing no more further questions, please vote. It passes 3 with 1 abstention. Thank you, Doug. Okay, moving on. We'll move on to, we have something else, Karen?
11-1.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was looking at the other one. I thought we were finished here. Okay, 11.1, Second reading, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on bill number 2716 to rezone a site approximately .99 acres in size from SF 40 residential single-family minimum lot size 40,000 square feet to SF 20 residential single-family minimum lot size 20,000 square feet. It's all you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I'm Karen Melby, Development Service Manager. The rezoning request before you today is being requested by Michael and Cassie Ronning to rezone their approximately 1 acre property located at 3270 Spanish Springs Road from single-family SF or SF 40 to SF 20. You can see on the map here their properties outlined in cyan. This is their property. This would be the North Truckee drain here, and down here is Bering Boulevard, to give you some reference. SF 40 and SF 20 are both single-family residential zoning districts. The major difference between the two zoning districts is the minimum lot size and the rear setback. SF 40 has a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet, while SF 20 has a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet. The rear yard setback for SF 20 is 40 feet, compared to 30 feet required in SF 20. There's reduced setback was the major motivating factor for the applicant's request today. SF 40 also allows livestock, while SF 20 does not. Another comparison is lot average coverage in SF 40 is 20%, SF 20 is 30%. This rezoning request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. The property, as you can see on this map, in the whole area is designated as low, large lot residential, so that this property is already designated the appropriate land use designation. On this map, this is the existing zoning map. You can see that their property is SF 40, while adjacent properties to the west are SF 20. So they are contiguous to existing SF 20 zoned properties. This rezone relates to the comprehensive plan goal H3, which is to ensure that Sparks residential and mixed-use neighborhoods are desirable locations to live. The requested change in zoning is consistent with the surrounding zoning, there's SF 40, SF 20, and also SF 15, which are all adjacent to this property. The item was noticed in the Reno Gazette Journal on March 22nd, and 70 notices were mailed out to the neighborhood on March 17th. The Planning Commission meeting and today's City Council meeting are the public hearings for this item. All findings being made, the Planning Commission and staff recommends approval of this item. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Karen, is the applicant here today?
Yes, he is here. Tim.
Any questions or comments for anybody? You want to come down and talk about your project, or? Thank you. And just give us your name for the record, if you would.
Applied for the zone change because we do hot rods and custom cars. And after we bought this piece of property, it has 2 tiny little garages in it that you can't fit anything. So we just want to build a garage so we can put our stuff in it.
Is that a business, or is it, what is this, Karen?
No, it's just a hobby, his hobby.
Yeah.
Any questions for the applicant, Ed?
Out of your notices, did you get any feedback from the neighborhood out of the 70 notices?
We did have several people call us and ask, and then at the Planning Commission, we did have and I can't remember the number, but we did have quite a few people come up. I think about 5 made comments. Well, their issues were not in favor. They were concerned about traffic generation, let's see, noise.
This is historic, though.
Yeah.
You're not souping up Indians. No.
And it's
Drag racing down the street or anything. Yeah.
And it's still residential property, so there would not be any traffic generated. But those are the issues that came up at the Planning Commission.
For me, if he's based on the findings Z1 to Z3, he's meeting those findings. It's his property. He has the right to do what he wants with it. Any other questions or comments? And this is Christopher Dare's ward, but he's not here. Would somebody like to pick it up and make a motion? Ms.
You have,
Bybee?
excuse me, this is a public hearing,
Oh,
so you
okay.
do have to open your public hearing.
You keep doing that to me. Okay, don't make that motion. Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council for action. Ms. Bybee. Thank you.
I move to adopt Bill number 2716 and approving the rezoning requests associated with PCN 17-0010 based on findings Z1 through Z3 and the facts supporting these findings as set forth in the staff report.
Mr. Abbott. I'll second that motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Okay, we'll move on to 12.1, comments from the public. Anybody in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council. Comments from city council, city manager. Comments from anyone? Mr. Driscoll.
I have two, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. The first, I have an announcement. The following committee appointments are available: Civil Service Commission, 2 members for a 3-year term; Parks and Recreation Commission, 3 members for a 3-year term; and the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority Board of Trustees, 1 member for a 4-year term. Persons interested in serving on these committees should complete a community service application available from the city clerk's office. You may also apply online at the city's website, www.cityofsparks.us. Click on Government on the webpage. Then under Boards and Commissions, click Volunteering for a Sparks Board or Commission. Fill out the online application and submit. Applications will be accepted until the close of business on Thursday, May 25th, 2017 at 5 p.m. And lastly, Ms. Mallory, would you please come to the podium? Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, member of the council, and city attorney, before you is Kendall Mallory. She's been serving as an intern in the manager's office. She's done a couple of rotations, if you will, with both myself and with Mr. Kreutz and the HR department. We typically, with a lot of interns in this type, we try to provide the greatest experience we can. We don't stick them in a corner answering phones, doing filing, those kinds of things. And so at this point, Ms. Mallory's been able to sit in on some very interesting meetings. And I want to thank both you, the members of the council, and our senior staff and mid-management staff for allowing this person who really has no experience and no background to be able to absorb and see what we do and how our business works. And so she, in every instance, has been very professional in her manners and her natures. She understands the open meetingness of what we do and the confidentiality of what we do. Hopefully she got a good experience. She's been a pleasure to be around. I know that she's interacted with you, so hopefully that was pleasant for you. We're looking forward to providing these kinds of experiences for other interns in the future. And we wish her well as she finishes her high school career and goes on to college. So I just wanted to publicly thank you for just being a great intern.
Thank you. Would you like to say a few words, Kendall? Because we've seen you around here for quite a while.
Light's not on. Okay. All right, I would just like to thank everyone for working with me, being patient, answering all my questions, especially Steve. It's been absolutely wonderful. You just can't get this kind of hands-on education in any school environment. I've learned so much working here, and I hope to continue learning more about the city and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall. Appreciate it. And good luck.
Thank you.
And now you're a photographer. You can put that on your resume.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other comments from anybody in the council? Anybody at all? Okay, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting with a roll call.
Chairperson Bybee?
Here.
Agency members Abbott? Here. Lawson? Here. Smith?
Here.
Martini absent. Dare absent. Attorney Adams?
Here.
Chief Administrative Officer Driscoll?
Here.
We have a quorum, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment, move on to item 4.1, approval of the agenda. Looking for a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Come on.
Okay, motion approved unanimously. 5.1, looking for a motion to approve the minutes unless there's any corrections or additions. Mr. Agency Member Abbott moved to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Agency Member Lawson. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Business items, number 6.1, report of claims. Claims and bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period April 6th through May 13th. Looking for an approval. Agency Member Smith, seconded by Agency Member Lawson. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing. Item 6.2. Public comment on the tentative budgets for the redevelopment agencies of the City of Sparks Areas 1 and 2 for the fiscal year 2017 to 2018. Mr. Cronk.
Good afternoon. Jeff
And
Cronk,
Mr.
Financial
Driscoll.
Services Director for the record. Excuse me. Same procedures we did for the city. We just need to hold a public hearing on the final budget proposal for the redevelopment areas number 1 and 2, and then we'll have the budget before you for consideration on the next item. We just need to hold a public hearing
Okay, so
on
this
the
is-
tentative budget.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So we're public hearing on the tentative budget. So do I have any public comment on the tentative budget? I'm opening public comment. I'm closing public comment. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on.
6.3 then is the final budget documents that are in front of you for your approval. The only change that we had since that wasn't included in the city manager's recommendation book, if you will, is in redevelopment area 2. We finalized our numbers that were related to the closing costs for the tax increment bond funding. We didn't have that the last time, so we included it in the current one. It's only for the current year. So that just, we just wanted to make sure we got that into the budget for the current fiscal 17, but it has no impact on fiscal 18. And that was the only change since the last you had seen on the 24th. With that, I'll take any questions.
Do I have any questions or comments? No? Then I'm looking for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Agency Member Smith, second by Agency Member Abbott. Hearing no other comments, go ahead and vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen. Okay. I get my computer to. Okay, we are back to item number 7, comments from the public. Do I have any comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll close 7.1. 7.2, comments from the agency and Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based on some conversations this week with a couple of members of the redevelopment agency, including the chair, it appears that it would be nice to have a workshop specifically on redevelopment and focusing maybe primarily on redevelopment area 1. Going to talk about what some of the plans are and to have the agency weigh in on things such as marketing, continuity, concept, look, and some of those things. So I will be getting together with staff to put that together. We're looking at probably sometime in the late June to late July timeframe for us to put that information together. And I'll work with the chair on the agenda as that gets closer. So I just wanted to advise the council that I'm doing that as a request of more than one of the members of your council. Thank you.
And Mr. Manager, I do appreciate that. I think as we've got so much happening in the redevelopment districts in both of them, 1 and 2, but downtown with Victorian Square, I think a workshop would be helpful for all of us as we kind of set a direction that becomes a win-win for the city, for the redevelopment agency, and for our developers and people that are investing in downtown. So thank you for doing that and for staff putting that information together. I think that'll be helpful to all. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to remind the council members to stick around so we can sign the budgets for redevelopment and for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. So moved by Mr. Lawson. Second. Yes. We're all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're adjourned.